Welcome back, gentlemen, to the Festus Fantasy Football Forum on the Fantasy Jacks podcast. This is week 8. Week 8, guys. It's been an eventful year. We are coming off, Ty kind of mentioned it, I would agree, one of the craziest weeks in Festus fantasy history. A lot of storylines, and we're going to get into those today, obviously, with the reviews. I'm in pain. I'm in physical and mental pain, but it's not about me. It's about the league, and, my suffering it's fine. It's totally fine. Totally good. We're good. We have a great show planned for you guys today. Reviews, like I mentioned, the crazy storylines from week 7. We have the midseason awards, just a few of them. Hope you guys enjoy those. A couple new records. I know one for sure, maybe two. We'll see for the Festus Fantasy Constitution record books. Very excited about that. Obviously, we're going to do the week 8 previews and the primetime matchup and going over all the picks and stuff like that. So, hope you guys are excited for that. And without further ado, let's get into the matchup reviews. So, guys, this was a great week. There's a lot of close games. Finally, there was a couple blowouts. It's crazy how the season has turned around for a lot of teams. Let's go to Jay Gill and Conlon, because this was the first really big storyline of the week, and it was the fact that Jay Gill could not edit his lineup. Now, luckily for, I would say, Colin and Jay Gill, honestly, he lost anyways, even if he had put in Aaron Jones, which I think for the sake of just shit, that's better, because no controversy, per se. But this was definitely a close one. 114.8 to 94.96. Colin finally had Gibbs and Barkley show up for his team this week. But on the negative side of that, you lose DK Metcalf and Mike Evans for, I would project, 2 to 3 to maybe 4 weeks. So that's going to be a big concern for the 08 Lions. However, he does have some wide receiver depth. I think he can manage. But listen, we're in the point of the season where we're going to be talking about a lot of injuries for a lot of teams. So it's going to be a normal thing now. Jay Gill got his login back. It's working. He should be good to go. Breece Hall is fantastic. Garrett Wilson, I don't know, but George Kittle also fantastic. We're going to have to see how this rest of the roster fills out. Aaron Jones obviously as well. But maybe a trade, I don't know, because again, there's just no good, I would say there's no alpha wide receiver. You traded Garrett Wilson for that, and it just hasn't turned out. So let's go to Off to Grandma, losing to Bear Down in historic comeback fashion. Bear Down had, I believe, 34 points coming into Monday Night Football. I'm going to post the screenshot on the screen now. So Baker Mayfield looked terrible at the beginning, then finally turned it on. Ladd McConkey turned it on. And Bear Down wins 78.7 to 77.54. This was, again, another tough week for Off to Grandma. Listen, Bear Down beats Off to Grandma. And apart from Kyron and AJ, it's very concerning that this team is not putting up points. I mean, you have Neighbors who just came back off a concussion, but JSN and Darnell Mooney, and are they coming back to earth? I don't know. And CJ Stroud, I don't think is a great fantasy quarterback this year. Ramondre, oh my God, he's been a complete train wreck. DJ Moore plays in this game, I'd imagine, Off to Grandma wins. But that's just the way of the game. I mean, Brock didn't have Chris Olave. Brock didn't play David Njoku. Although Off to Grandma did not have DJ Moore, who maybe wins this game with him. The depth, it's just a depth thing. And Darnell Mooney and JSN maybe coming back down to earth. I don't know. Just a tough week. Off to Grandma, I think that's 3 straight losses. So, unfortunately there. Let's go to a team that has 3 straight wins, and that's We Are Shit, taking down the Guardians of Your Mom's House, 88.98 to 87.64. This sucks. This sucks. Jaden Daniels gets hurt early in the game. I think I saw it. It was that first big run play, and then he fell down awkwardly, and I knew it. Juju Smith-Schuster gets taken out of the game after the first drive because his hamstring, and he's a bitch. But then Debo gets hurt. Debo gets sick and doesn't play in the game, and it was a tall task coming into Monday night, but James Conner came down to the wire and just 1.3 or 1.4 points away You didn't play Mark Andrews, Jackson, and for that, I'm going to give myself a You Fucked Up award for not playing him over Hunter Henry and this is going to sound crazy, I did tell myself maybe start Mark Andrews over James Conner just to block him with Likely, because it was going to be one or the other. I didn't do it. I was nervous about that play, and the 3 points, it made a difference. Now, the story of this game is Chris Godwin. Oh my God, Chris Godwin. A minute left in the game. I get it. You're down 10. You can still technically have a chance, and it's just a freak accident of a play, and he's gone for the year. Gone for the year. Jane Daniels potentially out for a couple weeks. Juju. The loss is one thing, but losing Godwin for the year, that's the bigger, that's the gut punch, right? That's the gut punch. As for we are shit, look, turning it on here, 3 straight wins. I think 2 of them were against top 5 teams, top 3 teams even, so that's really impressive. The team's just clicking. I think all but 3 people scored touchdowns for his team, and only 1 person scored a touchdown for the Guardians, and you just can't win games like that in this league when you're only scoring 1 touchdown, including your quarterback, so... Great win for We Are Shit, moving up in the rankings, moving up in the win column, and that's great for him. Guardians, tough loss. Let's go now to the biggest blowout of the week, of the season so far. Chubb Check taking down JaxyPad 152.44 to 61.48. This game was over by 2 o'clock on Sunday. It was that bad. I mean, the running backs on Can't Chubb Check are insane. Mixon, Walker, David Mont, who didn't even have a good game, but he's still David Montgomery. And Amon-Ra St. Brown finally showed up. Lamar's fucking insane. And for JaxyPad, it's slowly slipping away. You know, Tyreek Hill does have Tua coming back this week, which is great. Christian McCaffrey's still not coming back for 2 weeks, and even if he does come back at week 10, how is his workload going to be? When's he going to be 100%? Will it be too little too late? So, I'm not going to harp on this game. Can't Chubb Check continues his reign of dominance. This is the most points scored in the league this year so far, and he now has the most points scored out of anyone. Now, here is the game of the week. I mean, this was crazy game. Team Didi winning over Thank You Tomorrow 100.76 to 100.74. 0.02 point differential. I was really upset with my game. I'm sure AJ was really upset with his game. When you put it into perspective, Dom has it so much worse because he literally needed 3 yards from anyone. He needed another catch. He needed 3 yards from Henry or Mason, who probably lost that in a one bad run play. He does get a You Fucked Up award for not starting Khalil Shakir. I don't know why he wasn't started, or even Trey Tucker. I don't know why Booty or whatever his name is right there was started. I really don't know why, considering Trey Tucker and Khalil Shakir were projected more. And look, you cost you, right? 0.02, anything could have costed you, but this really cost you, so you get a You Fucked Up award, Dom. And as for Team Didi, wow. Even with a 0-point performance from Cortland Sutton, it was an impressive game here. And I'm going to, give you some flowers there. You put in Michael Pittman and Javonte Williams. You get a play of the week for not starting Calvin Ridley or Bucky Irving in those flexes because it won you the week. Starting Javonte and Michael Pittman there. So very good for you, Austin. Your team just needs to get healthy, which Nico comes back, I believe, next week. And then Pacheco. Now let's get to the primetime review here. The Dogs taking down Killer offseason. I thought for sure this was going to be another record for Judson because it was awful in terms of points. Kyler Murray had a 40-yard touchdown run. That basically set him over the edge. He was good from there on. But, it was very concerning how Judson had about 50 to 40-something points. I was very shocked. I was very scared for Judson. But he avoids the damage here. And as for the Dogs, man, they are barking. And here's an underrated part of this team right now. Although he is 3-4, the best thing about the Dogs is not Jettas, it's not Bijan, Josh Allen, it's not Kelsey, it's not Cooper, whatever. It's not anything. It's the fact that this team is healthy. Okay? It's healthy and it has options with Brian Thomas and Jacoby Myers and Tucker Kraft. That's the best thing about this team. I think it is the healthiest team right now, which When has Tyler Wright and healthy team ever gone in the same sentence, especially in the last 3 years? He's been consistently having the most injured teams, and now he has a healthy team. Unfortunately, still 3-4, but he's turning it on. So kudos to him. He wins in prime time. He's going to keep that momentum going into next week. And that was a pretty good performance from you, sir. For the week, though, I went 4-2. Finally had a good week. As for my boom and bust picks, I went 1, and I'm not going to count the Juju because he literally only played 1 drive, and that was just stupid. However, I did miss on both of my bust picks. I thought I nailed the Derrick Henry for a little bit there, and then he turned it on, as he does. George Pickens I was completely wrong about, so we're going to be doing those again. 1-1 and 1-2 right now. Not bad, not terrible, but definitely could be better, I suppose. Let's get into the new records that I want to highlight here. All right, gentlemen, the first one I want to highlight is not technically a new record. However, it was so close. The Chris and Mez matchup, it was a point differential of 90.96 points. I'm going to pop this up on the screen. It is now second all-time in the record book. I know I said I wasn't going to do it like this, but I thought, it was so close, and just to fill out the record book, might as well do it. So for stuff like this, I'll just do it because it's also kind of fun. This is a for sure record. I want to preface that I really don't know if this can ever be broken. There's only 2 differentials that can beat it, and that's a tie and .01. But Austin beating Dom by .02 points, beating the previous record of .08, which is insane to me that we jumped from .08 to .02. That's insane. That was a great record that we had broken this week. There was another contention for lowest scoring game by Bear Down and Off to Grandma. That did not pass. Pretty low scoring game though. So we have those 2 records. I do want to say for a record watch purpose that we have Judson on pace, I do believe, to break Jay Gill's lowest scoring season record. Judson's had a terrible few weeks. We don't do like middle season stats. Jay Gill's lowest points scored record was 1,368.52. Okay, and you divide that by 14, and that's about 97 points a game. Right now, Judson is averaging 87. So he is well on pace to break this record. However, I'm looking at it now, and Chris is averaging 94 points a game. So he's also in contention. And then you also look at it again. This is insane that I'm even saying this. That Tony is below that. So you have 3 guys in contention to break Jay Gill's record this year of 1,368 points scored, which is the lowest of all time. We're going to have to monitor that. And if we go to the points for, I don't think anyone is on pace currently. Mez's is averaging out to about 123. He needs to score about 20 more points a game to break Tyler's record, which is so stupid. That guy had a crazy season that year. So just let's be on the lookout for that. And so yeah, 2 new records. Record watch for about 3 teams, which I didn't even realize was that close. So let's now, after we finish that, let's get into the matchup previews for Week 8. All right, gentlemen, let's get into the... Sorry, I gotta adjust the camera. Let's get into the matchup previews for Week 8. And we got some really good matchups this week. I want to say this. I don't think they're going to be as good as last week. Obviously, last week was an anomaly in terms of how good the games were and how close they were, but you never know. Last week I went 4-2, and we are going to try and top that this week. Hopefully 5-1, and you'll see why I say 5-1 here in a very short second. But let's get started. So the first game, I kind of mentioned I want to go 5-1 this week. Well, because this first game is the Guardians of Your Mom's House taking on Bear Down. Bear Down looks to be pretty healthy, minus Chris Olave. Jonathan Taylor looks to be coming back this week, but he's sitting David Njoku right now in place of Tank Dell and Devontae Smith in those flexes. We will have to see if he changes that. I personally would, because I would not trust Tank Dell, but he's a Texans fan, I don't know. When you look at the Guardians, crushing defeat. I hate looking at this team now because there's no Chris Godwin. And Jaden Daniels most likely is not playing this week, so Bo Nix will get the start most likely. And Cole Kmet at tight end, obviously a big tight end controversy for this team. And Baker Mayfield, no receivers this week. How's he going to fare? Some tough matchups on both sides. I think Brock's team does have a lot of better matchups, so that's good for him because the early projections are heavily favoring the Guardians, minus Jonathan Taylor not being in there. But I do project him to play. So who do I have winning this game? Look, a lot of tough matchups for the Guardians with Kamara against the Chargers, and you have Pollard against Detroit. You don't have Jaden Daniels. You have to put in Jaylen Warren as a flex. That sucks. I mean, that really, really sucks. I might honestly not do that. We'll have to wait and see. It might be Etienne or Mark Andrews or Hunter Henry. I don't know. Then you look at Bear Down. I mean, he's got great matchups all over the place. You know, Raheem Mostert, Zach Moss, Drake London, Trey McBride. They all have great matchups. And then you have bounce back abilities from guys like Devontae Smith and Tank Dell, who I do project will heavily bounce back. So I'm going to take Bear Down for this week. I like the bounce back ability, and I just like the matchups better. And I can't trust the Guardians right now after the injuries from last week. Let's go to the 08 Lions taking on Team DD. The 08 Lions are slightly favored in these early projection windows, but I gotta say, I am loving Team DD's A, matchups, and B, overall team outlook because of the game scripts that these players are coming in with. Bucky Irving now, running backs are going to be heavily used in that Bucs offense. Juwan Jennings now is going to get an increased workload. We can see what he can do when that happens. Brock Bowers, we saw last week, he's clearly the number one option. He has 60 targets on the year. That's almost 20 more than George Kittle, who's the second in that department. So that's crazy. And then you have good matchups in Cortland Sutton against Carolina and Javonte Williams against Carolina. So that's great on that side. As for the 08 Lions, the pack stack is going to be great against Jacksonville. But you have Jahmyr Gibbs against Tennessee. They have been shutting down running backs. Saquon Barkley against Cincinnati actually should be really good. DeAndre Swift against Washington should be really good. But can you trust Christian Kirk? Can you trust Sam Laporta? Can we trust Jalen McMillan? I mean, he was your big waiver wire ad this week. Kudos to you, but can you trust him? So, with all this in mind, I'm actually going to go with Team DD to get the upset pick of the week. My upset pick of the week, I don't know why, I just have a hunch that Team DD is going to come out and perform. Not saying the 08 Lions aren't going to perform, because I think they will. Not every good team wins every week at Exhibit A. Let's go to a up-and-coming team, the Dogs, taking on Thank You Tomorrow. And the Dogs are the highest projected team this week at 131 as of right now. But Thank You Tomorrow, actually, 115 projected. Very impressive there. A complete 180 from weeks past, who has been barely cracking 105 projection, 110 projection. So 115 is a pretty good range for him. And the Dogs, 131.4 is a crazy, crazy projection total. And I think it's warranted, right? You have Josh Allen, Amari Cooper stack. That's going to be great. You have Bijan going against Tampa Bay. So that's a pretty good matchup there. Jefferson against the Rams. McLaurin. Brian Thomas Jr. has been playing fantastic. He goes against Green Bay. I don't know how those matchups are going to go, truthfully speaking, because those are some pretty good defenses, minus Jettas and Bijan. But when you go to Thank You Tomorrow, it's kind of the same deal. Pickens against the Giants, Wandale against Pittsburgh. You have Joe Burrow against Philly, Derrick Henry against Cleveland. Cleveland, for what it's worth, can stop the run pretty decently well with Myles Garrett out there. So Derrick Henry, I wouldn't expect to have a massive 25, 30-point game like we're kind of used to right now. But then again, it is Cleveland, so who knows. With that all being said, though, I still like the Dogs in this matchup. However, I want to preface this. Don't be surprised if Thank You Tomorrow comes out on top this week. Don't be surprised at all. Because, like I mentioned, the Dogs have really tough matchups with McLaurin and Brian Thomas. And, hell, I'd put Amari Cooper and Josh Allen in there against Seattle. I mean, they have a good defense, historically speaking. But, I wouldn't put it past them. Najee Harris against the Giants. Maybe that workload decreases with Jalen Warren and Russ. I don't know. So, the Dogs matchups aren't perfect. But I still think the firepower is going to be better than Thank You Tomorrow, because Thank You Tomorrow basically has to have every single person show up. The Dogs can, afford one or two guys to kind of take a back seat this week, if that makes any sense at all. Let's go to killer offseason taking on JaxyPad. Very, very even in the projections, only 1% disparity. And guess what? Killer offseason actually has a higher projected total right now over JaxyPad, which that's crazy in my opinion. And this is going to be a really interesting game because you have Tua and Tyreek on JaxyPad, and you have Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane on killer offseason. In my opinion, this game is going to come down to A, what's Cooper Kupp going to do? That's probably the biggest question. But B, is it going to be more of a Tua game or is it going to be more of a Devon Achane game? In my opinion, it's going to be more of a Tua game. We just saw Justin Herbert throw all over the Cardinals defense. They kind of stopped the run. So unless Devon Achane can get going in the passing game, it's really going to be Tua and Tyreek this week. And also, of course, Jalen Waddle, but those numbers are capped. It was honestly a really smart play on Chris. I respect it. He could have went and got Bo Nix. He could have went and got someone else, but I respect the play there. I think actually Judson tried to go get Tua as well, having the same mindset. So I respect it. I like the strategy there with both managers. But then besides that, Dalton Kincaid, I don't really love. Diontae Johnson, I really don't love. Nick Chubb, I don't love. And Josh Jacobs, I think could be decent, but I don't know. Maybe Jacksonville's run defense is stepping up in recent weeks. On the flip side, what I can tell you is that Cooper Kupp and Kyle Pitts are going to do great this week. We saw Baltimore's tight ends tear it up last night, or 2 nights ago, and Kyle Pitts is going to do the same in Atlanta. Rico Dowdle against San Francisco, I like. Keon Coleman, and J.K. Dobbins, it could be good, it could be bad. I have no idea with that one because he's not really the receiver back. So who do I have winning this game? Well, this was a tough one as well because, again, it's pretty even. Both have good and bad matchups. The Tua thing capping Jalen Waddle's potential and Devon Achane's potential is concerning for Judson. It's great for Chris because now you get double the Tyreek Hill points, which is awesome. But is that enough? I really don't know. I love Cooper Kupp this week, and I really love Kyle Pitts, but I'm going to have to go with killer offseason. I don't know if it's an upset pick or what, but I have to roll with his team this week. I know JaxyPad he's not going to like that. But besides Tyreek Hill and Tua, I really don't love anyone else. So there's a lot of... This will be a good game, though. This will be a really good game. Let's go to the last Sunday game. Breece's backpack. Now he can log in and use his team, which is great. Taking on We Are Shit, coming off of a great win. 3 straight wins for Mr. Marmonti. Thank you for your service, sir. And it's looking like he's going to be sitting Marvin Harrison. That's probably not going to stay because Deebo Samuel has to play, or he has to sit this week, so Marvin Harrison's probably going to take Deebo's spot. I'd assess. Going to Breece's backpack. Anthony Richardson going to be getting the start this week, it looks like. Ooh, scary. Breece Hall against New England. We saw Tank Bigsby run all over them. We'll see what Breece Hall does. What I do know is going to get shut down is Garrett Wilson against New England. That's just not going to work. George Kittle is going to be good. Kareem Hunt is going to be good. I mean, Aaron Jones will be good, but other than that, I mean, not great matchups across the board. And when you look at Tony, Rachaad White against Atlanta, coming off of the injuries to wide receivers, Rachaad White's kind of like Bucky Irving. They're good. The running backs are going to succeed now more than ever in that offense. T. Higgins against Philadelphia looks great. So who do I have winning this game? It's going to be quite simply, and I'm going to regret saying this, I already know it, but I'm going to pick Jay Gill. And for some reason, Tony's just going to score 100 points and win. And Jay Gill's team's not going to show up. It's just going to happen. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why everything in this world sucks. Moving on to the primetime game this week, guys. This is going to be a great matchup. We have 2 videos from both of these managers coming in. And it is Can't Chubb Check and Off to Grandma. So, I'm going to be playing those videos right now.
Got week 8 primetime this week, coming in at 6-1. Pretty good year so far for me. Actually paying attention to what's going on in the league for once. And the waiver wires and all that other good stuff going around in the league. It's helped a little bit. This week we got Allen. He's got a pretty decent squad. He started off 4-0, but he's on a little downfall right now at 4-3. Lost 3 in a row, but I think we can take down Grandma, but not only are we going to beat off to her, we're going to bend that whole bag over and let her know what business is coming for her. She's going to get dicked down.
Hello, boys. Well, I guess good afternoon. If Jackson stays on schedule and this video comes out by lunch. 3rd prime time of the year. I'm not exactly looking forward to it. after the, had a hot start, 4-0. And then the last 3 weeks happened. My downfall was, unfortunately, Jackson put up 130 against him without A.J. Brown and Malik Neighbors. And then the 2 weeks after that happened, and I couldn't score above 80. 67 points against Tony, lost. And then 77 points against Brock, and lost by a point because of fucking Monday Night Football, of course. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I don't have much to say. It was indeed not short and sweet. Sorry about that one. Just got to get the fucking team ready. Do what we were doing at the beginning of the year, because we were on a little bit of a roll. Some of the wins kind of squeezed by on them, but still in a great spot. I'm not too worried about it. Third year player, third year manager. What else can you ask of me? I'm doing my best over here. Just gotta let the fuck in. Told those motherfuckers, gotta let the fuck in. I need Ramonje's bitch ass, the Pats to fucking, do something. I haven't even looked at matchups this week. I haven't wanted to be on the app. But, it's alright. Still haven't made a trade yet. Could be my downfall just as it was for Judd. But in some talks, we'll see how those work out if I decide to follow through with them. But, tough matchup with Mez. That's, no bueno in the current situation. Hopefully we can turn this shit around. Like I said, I was talking to my team. Need those motherfuckers to put in the goddamn work at practice this week, because fucking hell. It's, need a good game out of them. I said I was going to keep it short and sweet. It's about 2.5 minutes right now, but just hoping for the best. And like I said, haven't looked at my matchups. Probably dog shit this week, if I had to assume. Actually, no, I lied. I know DJ Moore has a good matchup, but it's about it. But I trust the guys. I trust my team. Just need to get back in the full swing of things, because looks like we decided to take a fucking nap and not do what we're supposed to do, like some of the high caliber players that I have. But that's okay. AJ Brown's back. He's doing his fucking thing. Can't ask much more out of him. Kyron's doing his thing too. Like I said, it's just fucking Ramondre. I need Neighbors to have a bounce back week, and the rest of the team just to fill out the rest. Can't ask much else of them. They got me this far. I'd love to see a playoff appearance, but what can I say? Alright, well, besides all that talking, fucking prime time, baby. The third prime time this year. Let's see if we can win. Pull a fucking track out of our ass. Ace up my sleeve, hopefully. See what my managing skills. See how far they can get me. Like I said, I got some talks for trades, so those come to fruition. You will obviously see them via the fantasy app. But good luck to everybody this week, man. I'd say good luck to you, but god damn it, I need to get back. I ain't getting another fucking one, dude. This isn't fucking good. All right, boys. Like I said, good luck, everybody. I'm gonna pull Jackson. Besides Mez, might come back to bite me in the ass, but it's all right. All right, peace out, boys.
So as we did the past couple weeks, we are going to go through the history of these two teams facing off. AJ was not a part of the league in 2021, which is when our stats go back the farthest. So our first matchup between the two managers was in 2022. And back then, it was Washing Foreskin and Team Forrester playing. This is week 8 of 2022. A very high scoring affair, 161.08 to 146.72. So Washing Foreskin, Mez at the time, up 1-0 on the all-time season head-to-head, record. They actually ended up playing again week 14 of 2022, and the final score was 118.56 to 113.2. Mez once again getting the best of Team Forrester, and this was en route to Mez's, I don't want to say first playoff appearance, but first one that I can remember. So it was a great season for him. 6-8 in AJ's first year in the league. Maybe his first year playing fantasy. I don't quite remember that. But overall, pretty good showing from both teams this season. Now let's head to 2023. And we go to week 8 as we are now. We know how our schedule works. This was, again, another kind of a tight matchup here. Chubb Checker at the time won over Bigger Than Black and White, 109.66 to 99.2. So all time at this point, Mez is 3-0 against AJ. And I don't remember if I think this was Mez's second win at the time of last season. Maybe third. I can't quite. I think it was his second or first win. So it was a big win for Mez. And at this rate, it's almost like Mez just has AJ's number. 3-0 against them all time. And then you go to week 14, which we'll see these managers play again this year in week 14. You go to week 14 of last season. And again, Chubb Checker takes down Bigger Than Black and White last season, 120.04 to 110.74. 4-0 against AJ in their careers. A lot of stuff riding on this game, truthfully, as well, because not only the all-time record at being 4-0 against AJ, maybe that motivates Off to Grandma a little bit. This is Mez's first week in primetime this year, AJ's second, and it's going to be a great game, guys. Let's break this down. Right now, early projection totals favor Chubb Check, who is sitting at 6-1, clearly in the driver's seat of this league, and projected 130 points once again. I think this is like the 5th fucking week in a row. But Off to Grandma also coming in here looking pretty good. Will Dallas Goedert play? I don't know. But when you break down each matchup, you have Cleveland against Lamar. I think Lamar should be just fine there. Joe Mixon against Indianapolis. Joe Mixon, for some reason, is just killing everybody. So I project Joe Mixon to have another good game there. Kenneth Walker, kind of the same deal. They're kind of matchup proof at this point. But then you look at Amon-Ra, he's going to get the L'Jarius Sneed treatment. That sucks. Devontae Adams is going to get the New England secondary treatment. That sucks. The best thing for Mez is K. Dotton against Atlanta. But that's literally, when you look at it, it's the only good matchup. And considering that this team just scored 150 points, expect some regression this week. When you go to Off to Grandma, Kyron Williams against Minnesota isn't great, but he gets such a high workload. And then you go to Ramondre against the Jets. That's another tough matchup. However, A.J. Brown against Cincinnati is going to be fantastic. DJ Moore against Washington is going to be fantastic. JSN against Buffalo, I think, will be all right. It's really even between these two teams of the matchups. I mean, half of them are good, half of them are bad. I would say there's more good matchups for Off to Grandma than Can't Chubb Check. I mean, literally, I think there's only one good matchup for Can't Chubb Check. If I'm really being two good matchups, I'll say two good matchups. Indianapolis and Atlanta for Mixon and Otten. Off to Grandma, AJ Brown, DJ Moore, I mean, those are home run matchups. I mean, those are the matchups you want this week. They might score 30, 35 points. It's very possible. Especially if Washington starts Jaden Daniels, it'll be more of a shootout. If not, I could see that game kind of getting out of hand. So who do I have winning this game? I don't know. It's going to be a really good primetime game, which primetime games haven't been the best this year. Last week's was pretty bad as well. We did get the good Brock and Chris matchup. Who do I have winning this game? I actually have Off to Grandma winning this game over Can't Chubb Check. Okay, guys, that was the matchup previews for Week 8. Let's get into my boom and bust picks for this week. I'm really excited about these guys. I think I'm going to go 4-0. Currently, 1-1 all-time on the booms, and 1-2 all-time on the busts. Remember, it's not 4 because a lot of the guys ended up not playing. So for this week, my first boom is Off to Grandma's own DJ Moore going over 20.9 points this week. I expect a touchdown at least and potentially 100 yards with a lot of catches. My other boom pick of the week is going to be Jaden Reed. I'm going back to this well because I was wrong last time, and I think the 08 Lions were waiting on Jaden Reed to have that big game again. He hasn't really had it in a few weeks. I think he's due, especially against a weak secondary that he's going up against. I have Jaden Reed going over 20.9 points this week. As for my bus, busting this week. Brian Thomas Jr., I nailed his bust, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We're going to go back to that well. He's got a tough matchup against Jair Alexander. So I have him going under 7.3 points. And then my last bust pick, JaxyPad, I'm sorry, but Diontae Johnson is going to go under 9.1 points this week. Surtain treatment plus Andy Dalton might not even play. And even if he does at this point, I mean, it's been atrocious. So I'm going to say those two as my bust. Hopefully going to go 4-0 there. Alright guys, let's get into the power rankings portion of this episode. Some pretty big moves this week actually because of injuries, because of a lot of stuff. Judson, killer offseason, of course, is still at number 12. And I would like to say there's something encouraging about this, but there's not. Because Brandon Ayuk just tore his ACL and he's out for the season. I don't know, I feel bad. I really, as a person, I do feel really bad because I think he did make the best move he could have made, and he's just the unlucky. I'm sorry, Judd. All right. Number 11, I have Thank You, DeMar. Jordan Mason and George Pickens, and, you know, there's a lot of different question marks. I was questionable about George Pickens. Maybe he can be the guy, but the truth is, Jordan Mason's losing his job. You're going to lose your running back, too. I know you're trying to make deals for Derrick Henry right now. I respect that. I think if you can get 2 running backs for him at some point, it's going to be good for this team. As of now, though, I just don't love the outlook, considering you're going to be losing Jordan Mason soon. Evan Ingram, though, love. Joe Burrow's been great. Derrick Henry, obviously, is the best running back in fantasy, which, I don't know how we didn't see this coming. I don't know, how did we not know that? But I digress. Number 10, I have JaxyPad, Chris's team, falling a little bit at 2-5 because what do the flexes look like? What does the wide receiver core look like? Whenever Nico Collins comes back for Stefon Diggs, whenever, Pittman still sucks now. Tyreek Hill will be better, hopefully, but there's just so many question marks. Quarterback is terrible. I don't know. I'm going to keep him at 10 now, but I do think this team can rise up, actually. I really do think that, Chris. At number 9, I have We Are Shit, Mr. Marmani's squad. Thank you for your service, sir. Except the fact that you beat me. That really pissed me off. I think this team is just, one of those under-the-radar teams that can score. And if they score touchdowns in unison and, you catch a team on the bad week, Team Armani will take advantage of that. They are on a 3-game win streak. I know 2 games for sure, taking down 2 top 3 teams in off to Grandma and the Guardians. I mean, that's very impressive. I don't know really what to make of that, except, wow, just good job on We Are Shit. Number 8, I have Team Didi. Team Didi's team I actually do kind of like. And it's going to get healthy here in about a couple weeks. So it's going to hopefully hit its stride. So Nico Collins comes back. Isaiah Pacheco comes back towards playoff time, which will be huge if this team can hang around. Maybe this team can sneak into the playoffs. I don't know. I've seen crazy things happen. You're sitting at the 8 seed right now, 3-4, at a very competitive division with 4-3, 4-3, 3-4, 3-4. So you can 100% sneak around and get the number 1 seed in that division. It's possible. So keep an eye out for Team Didi. At number 7, I have Breece's backpack. And Breece's backpack is looking great as well. I still have a lot of concerns about the quarterback and the wide receivers. Tight end is great with Kittle. Breece Hall is great, as always been. Aaron Jones is great. So the running backs are pretty good. It's just now we look at the flexes. We look at the wide receivers. Zay Flowers is just not good enough to be a wide receiver 2 on your team. Garrett Wilson is, yes, but then you look at your flexes. Can you trust Worthy? Can you trust Leggett? Can you trust Kareem Hunt until Isaiah Pacheco comes back? I think you can, but it's going to run out eventually, right? That hourglass is going to run dry. Number 6, I have the Dogs, and they are barking. Ladies and gentlemen, they are bargain. Moving on up, finally, haven't moved this team in a while. I think they were stuck around 8 or 9. I got to put them at 6, okay? The biggest point for me for putting him at 6, the highest 3-4 team, is the fact that this team is healthy. Okay, Jettas is healthy. Bijan, Josh Allen, Amari Cooper now stacked with that. Brian Thomas has been a revelation, right? Everyone's healthy as well. I mean, J-Mo got suspended, but he's healthy. Every team has had injuries this year except you so far, and that's great to see. And that is the underrated biggest thing in fantasy football, availability. The best ability is availability. Everyone knows that. That's an age-old saying. And it's true, especially in fantasy football. I have the Dogs here at number 6. I think it can sneak into the playoffs, considering how tough it's been with injuries. This team is flying past. I wish it could have got off to an easier start this season, but now at 3-4, hopefully he stays the course. Next up at number 5, I have the Guardians dropping. I think I was at 2 last week, so dropping a big drop here, and that's because of the obvious loss of Chris Godwin. They lost to Tony, the potential multi-week absence of Jaden Daniels and Juju. Fuck Juju, I hate him so much. I hope terrible things happen to him. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Maybe. I don't know. Fuck. Number 5, though. CeeDee Lamb is coming back. I need him. I really need him to save this team like he did last year. Travis Etienne maybe plays for this squad. Who knows? Right now he has to. I don't know. Injuries are catching up to this team now. And kind of like I mentioned with Tyler, he got off to a tough start, but he's not injured. I got off to an okay start and had no injuries. I was the healthiest team for a while, and now it's obviously Tyler. But that's the big issue that's the big thing in fantasy football, is that it can change in a week. It can change in one play, and it did happen. I lose Chris Godwin for the season. It can happen to absolutely anyone's team. So that sucks. It's going to be hard to rebound from that. Obviously, you can't just be good after losing the wide receiver 2 on the year. The Guardians, I don't know. They gotta focus. They have a tough schedule coming up. And number 4, I have the 08 Lions, Mr. Doyle's squad. He's been really angry at me recently. I don't know. I don't know if I'm being a little too harsh on him. I didn't think I was, but maybe I have been. But I have Mr. Doyle at number 4 because he just lost DK Metcalf for a few weeks. He lost Mike Evans for a few weeks. He is looking a little bit depleted as of now. Maybe wishing he had Nick Chubb back, I'd assume. I think he can fill in, for sure. But having Christian Kirk and Jaden Reed now as your wide receiver 1 and 2 is just not as good. It's just not. Saquon and Jahmyr Gibbs going to continue to carry this team. Jordan Love has been great for you. DeAndre Swift has been great for you. So your 3 running backs, fantastic. Just lean on them and let's hope for no injuries. At number 3, I have off to Grandma. Maybe a controversial pick here, but I think he is healthy right now. AJ Brown's healthy. DJ Moore's healthy. Neighbors is back healthy. Kyron, the biggest part of this team is Kyron's healthy now. So that's why this team is still high, because now they're healthy. And although they're not playing good these past few weeks on a 3-game losing streak, I do project that to change. I think this team is still one of the best rosters in the league, and it's going to compete. He had a great draft. Got to give it to him there. At number 2, I have Bear Down. Brock Lambert's team. Maybe this is controversial. I don't know. But Bear Down is at number 2 because he's just found ways to get it done. He's the second best record in the league. Played it pretty well. With Baker and playing quarterbacks and playing matchups. And you know what? Even when his team kind of sells, Devontae Smith, Tank Dell, he finds a way to win. He just finds ways to win every single week with injuries. And this is multiple weeks now where he has had guys score 0 and 0.5 and negative, and he has found a way to win both of those weeks. So you got to give a credit there, but keep an eye out on him, right? And at number 1, I have Can't Chubb Check. We all knew this was going to be happening. I mean, look, 6-1, most points scored in the league, dominant fashion right now. He's just finding ways to win. And the scary thing is this team could have lost a lot whenever Mixon was down, Kenneth Walker was down, and he didn't. He could have lost a lot when Devontae Adams wasn't playing. He didn't lose. He lost once. That's the scary thing, because now they're all healthy again. I don't know how he misses the playoffs, but I don't know how he's not the favorite to win it all this year. So, great team by Mez. He hasn't made any trades yet. I was harping on the fact that he may need to. I don't think you do. I honestly think you just stay the course and just ride this out. Maybe if you want to trade guys for better matchup schedules in the playoffs, I don't know, because that's where your mindset has to go now. Is what do my matchups look like in the playoffs? Because you're going to make the playoffs. Great job by Can't Chubb Check. And now, guys, let's get into the midseason awards, and then we'll close this video out. All right, guys, let's finish off this episode with the midseason awards, and I'm really excited to bring these to you guys. But before I get into that, we've had a good episode today, I feel. I hope you guys have been enjoying the forum this season. I think it's been pretty good, especially with the competitiveness. It looks like we're getting that back. There's a couple clear-cut top teams like Mez. than that, injuries are starting to play a huge factor into a lot of teams, so no one's really above anyone else at this point besides, like I said, Mez. These aren't going to be all of the awards at the end of the season. These are kind of more of a condensed version. But the best team overall, I calculated this based on the power ranking finishes, all right? There's 3 nominees. There was Judson with 3 first place rankings. There was Mez, the current number 1, as you guys saw, with 2. And the best team overall by my rankings, thus far, statistics, whatever, is AJ. He got 4 first place rankings this season so far, so he is, for the midseason, the best team. The worst team overall, same concept. Dom has had 4 rankings, Tony has had 4 rankings, and Judson has had 2. So with that being said, there is a tie for the worst team overall between Dom and Tony. Do I think Judson's going to overtake that by the end of the year? Yes. Next up, I have the best trade for a team. This is hard to quantify as of now. This will be really interesting for later in the season, obviously at the end of the year, to get some numerical values for this. However, just based off my eyeball test, I think the 2 nominees for this was myself getting the CD Lamb and the CD Lamb trade, especially after Ayuk just tore his ACL. And then Brock's return for CMC, which was the first trade of the season, where he got Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Smith, and I believe someone else, or Baker or someone. I'm forgetting now. But Tony ended up getting Rashee Rice, who he ended up trading away, and a few others. So I think Brock gets the win for this one just because we haven't seen CeeDee Lamb play for the Guardians yet. And Jalen Waddle and Rico Dowdle could be, pretty good players. There is that. Brock, congratulations on your best trade for a team. The worst trade for a team, now this is not the flip-flops of that. This is something completely different. My 2 nominees for this one was Dom, trading for Jordan Mason and Rashee Rice, giving up Debo, Tyreek, and Eckler. Now, I understand that Rashee Rice and Jordan Mason were good players at the times that he used them, but Rashee Rice is now out for the season, and Jordan Mason is losing his job in about 3 weeks, 100% workload-wise. And you gave up wide receiver one and Tyreek Hill, who's your 3rd overall pick, and a solid depth guy in Austin Eckler. So I'm going to give a nominee for that, and then the other nominee is myself trading Joe Burrow away for Tajay Spears. That, I don't know, that worked out better than my head. That worked out way better in my head. But I'm going to give the win here, I guess if you want to call it a win, to Dom for trading for Jordan Mason and Rashee Rice. It's just not a good long-term trade for a team, and had it constituted a lot of wins for him, maybe it would be a different story, but it didn't. He's still one of the worst teams in the league, so he's got to take this one on the chin. Most injured team thus far. There was 2 nominees. The first nominee I had was Brock, bear down, because he used, statistically speaking, the most IR spots thus far in the season. You can see that on the homepage. And the other nominee I had was Austin. I think he had a lot of big name guys hurt this season so far. I mean, losing Pacheco and Nico, and it's just he's had a lot of injuries, especially James Cook in some games. Juwan Jennings in some games. So how do I do this? I didn't really know who to go for because everyone has big name injuries. So I'm just going to go with Brock to win the most injured team award thus far, just because he does have the most IR spots used. That is literally the definition of most injured team. Biggest steal in the draft. I tried to get one of every single guy in the league. So, and the way I did this also was only players still on the team. So if they're not on the team anymore, or they were dropped or traded, I didn't want to include that because I want this to be, someone that managers actually benefit from on a weekly basis. The first nominee I had was Jaden Daniels, picked by myself. He's the QB2 right now, picked in the 10th round. Great value there. Underrated pick here for the next nominee, Wan'Dale Robinson by Dom. He's a wide receiver 17, and he was picked in the very last round, the 13th round. That's a very good pick there. J.K. Dobbins, running back 24, picked in the 10th round by Judson. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 13, picked by AJ in the 10th round. I mean, a lot of great picks this year in the 10th round. Brock Bowers, tight end 1, picked by Austin, picked in the 9th round. Very, very good stuff there, considering how bad tight ends have been. Brian Thomas Jr., picked in the 9th round as well. He's the wide receiver 8, picked by Tyler. And the last nominee I have is the Pack Stack, picked by Colin, quarterback 14 and wide receiver 7, picked back-to-back picks on the 7 and 8 turn. I wanted to kind of include that as one. I thought that was pretty cool. There's a lot of great picks here. It's hard to measure which one is, the steal of the draft thus far. I think it's between two for sure. And I'm going to say it's Jaden Daniels, picked by myself in the 10th round, and it's Brock Bowers, picked in the 9th round, picked by Austin. I think those are the two guys, considering the positions, those are the two biggest steals for sure. So congratulations to myself and Austin for winning the biggest steal in the draft. Now, it's kind of the same concept here for the worst pick in the draft. These are all guys still on the team for their respective teams as well, so not traded unless they were dropped actually. So I have a few nominees, not as many as the biggest steals, because it's hard to know for sure if these are busts because they could be turning it on. For instance, Mark Andrews, when I first wrote this out, he was tight end 24. Now he's tight end 11. So we'll have to wait on that one. But he was picked in the 4th round by myself. It's been kind of a bad start to the year. The next nominee, again, he had a great game last night. But Rachaad White by Tony, he was picked in round 3, and before this recording, he was running back 42, and so that's awful. Anthony Richardson by Jay Gill, he was the first quarterback taken this year, currently the quarterback 29, picked in the 4th round. He just has not been on the field, and when he has been on the field, he's been atrocious. Next up, you probably knew this was coming, Brock. Tank Dell, picked in round 5, wide receiver 66. And the last nominee I have is Zamir White, running back 66, picked in the 6th round by Austin. He was on waivers. I don't know if he still is. I'm going to give this award to Brock for taking Tank Dell, just because he should be so much better than he is, and picked in round 5. That's just an awful pick, considering the guys that went right after him. If you want to throw up a little bit, just go watch it. Go look at the draft recap, and you'll see all the guys you wish you could have had. Trust me, I've been doing it a lot. So Tank Dell, Brock, congratulations on winning the worst pick in the draft award. There's been a lot of wins for Brock. Best trade, most injured team, worst pick, all over the place there. Love it. Next up, I have best waiver wire ad. This was a tough one. This is a really tough one because there hasn't really been a top waiver wire ad this year. Not like a Sam Laporta last year or a Puka. So my 3 nominees I have, as of now, are Tony, adding Allen Lazard September 25th. He's currently the wide receiver 13. He has played a part in this 3-game win streak from Tony. It's it's great play on his part. Next up, I have myself adding Cole Kmet September 25th. He's currently the tight end 3. And the last nominee is Mez, adding Tyrone Tracy Jr. October 5th, and he scored over 40 points for Mez, especially whenever he had to face injuries with Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker and David Montgomery bye. Tyrone Tracy has helped Mez propel into a 6-1 record. So this one's a tough one. I think it's definitely between Tony and Mez. So fuck it, I'll just give both to him, right? I really do think Tyrone Tracy has the starter now in New York, so that's huge for Mez. So I'm going to give it to Tony for Allen Lazard, and I'll give it to Mez for Tyrone Tracy. So congratulations, you guys. Great job on the waivers. And then the highest scoring game of the week just happened. You guys saw it was Mez scoring 152.44 points this week, and then the lowest scoring game was, of course, Judson, the record-setting 60.18 points. The breakout manager I have thus far is AJ. He garnered a 4-0 start. He drafted very well, falling recently 4-3. So you could give it to Mez as well here, but I think considering AJ, this will be, I project, his first time making the playoffs, and off to a 4-0 start. Breakout manager thus far is AJ. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you all enjoyed the new records, the power rankings, the reviews, the previews. And be ready for next week because it is week 8 going into week 9 next week. It'll be only 5 more weeks until the playoffs So it is vastly approaching, and we're going to see some pretty big moves, I'd imagine. Some desperate teams making some moves. Mez is almost clinched a playoff spot, so the Lambert rule will be kicking into effect, I project, in about 2 weeks if Mez can get 2 more wins. And then same for killer offseason, thank you tomorrow. So they're going to have to make some trades quickly, because once they get eliminated from playoff contention, clinched managers cannot trade with them. So something to keep in mind as well. It's going to be exciting to see that rule take into effect. And we're going to have to, of course, remind everybody when that does happen. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, it's a long season. It changes every single week. It's a week-by-week thing, just like the real NFL. Just stay strong, everybody, including me. If anyone wants to send me words of encouragement, please do, because I need it. I need it. But it's fine. We're totally fine. The Guardians are good. I'm not stressed. I'm built for this. I'm totally fine. Totally. Trust me. Alright, guys. Take care. Good luck to everybody in Week 8, except Brock. Go fuck yourself. Just kidding, Pookie. Love you. Okay.